Now this is a watch that can be classified as a feast for the eyes. Christopher Ward have just released the C60 Concept, an extravagant, skeletonized rendition of their best-selling dive watch. Let's check it out. Christopher Ward claims it's comparable to the workmanship sufficient to satisfy luxury watch maisons Czapek and MB&F. Why? How? Well, Armin Strom was consulted for the skeletonizing, while the SH21 is finished at chrono, including the detailing of the bridges and base plate, requiring at least 6 hours per watch. Now, I've been keeping a beady eye on how this watch has been received. So many people wrongly say, oh, I'd rather have a Tudor BB58 or maybe a second-hand Omega. Well, yes, those watches are available at this price point, around £3,500. And yes, they are brilliant watches. You can buy them instead of this. But it's like comparing apples to pears. The watch this should be compared to is the Oris Big Crown Pro Pilot X Caliber 115, which is a bit of a mouthful. That's got an RRP of £5,950. Now, is that Oris worth nearly double the C60 Concept? Well, we'll find out in time, but, you know, spoiler alert, the answer is no, not really. It could even, at a stretch, be compared to the beautiful Zenith Defy Classic, with the outstanding skeletonized version starting at £6,700. These are the watches it needs to be compared to, and once we do compare it to them, we start to realise that the price tag is as reasonable as ever. So without further ado, let's check it out. So I'm going to get some boring bits out of the way first, as I know what you're all really here for. So first up, the case. It's titanium with a very respectable 300 meters of water resistance rating. You know, this is a proper tool dive watch that can and should be used. It's also using Christopher Ward's wonderful light catcher design with flowing arcs, bevels, and a really nice array of finishing. The 42mm diameter might put some off, the over 15mm height even more so, but thanks to the ingenuity behind the case shape, it neither looks nor wears that large. And as it's titanium, it's also extremely light, 71 grams on the wrist. You know, for something this impressive, it is ultra comfortable. This one is loaded with Christopher Ward's well-received Cajora and rubber hybrid waterproof strap. The C60 Concept also has a titanium bracelet option, which would no doubt look pretty impressive in the metal. It has the logo neatly engraved on the buckle and quick release pins for easy changing if you want to. It's exceptionally supple and malleable for a rubber strap, and certainly aids the overall comfort of the entire watch. Sitting atop the case is a flat sapphire crystal with a very effective anti-reflective coating, perfect for gazing at what's below. It's flanked by a 120 click unidirectional zirconia ceramic bezel. I love the reflective glossy insert providing colour, glitz and glamour. The design being ultra modern and quite different to the normal too. The bezel action is precise and tight as you'd expect, and if you listen to it, the sound is reassuringly deep, signifying really good quality bearings, and it lines up really well as well. So enough of all that. Let's just get on with it and talk about the hand-finished movement. The SH21 in itself is still a remarkable movement, albeit slightly industrial in its initial form. I love how Johannes Janker, who was the key designer for the movement, lovingly referred to it as a tractor movement. Sturdy, strong, purposeful, and functional. This, however, is completely detached from that original version. Functional and strong, yes. Plain, industrial, boring, not a chance. I've seen many skeleton movements in my time, but none compare to this. I mean, come on. This is finished by the same people who work on MB&F HYT, Harry Winston, Czapek. These are proper Haute horology brands. Most often than not, those watches are costing tens of thousands of pounds. This SH21 is like getting a Fiat, but made in the Ferrari factory. It contains rhodium and grey ruthenium, both of which are rare metals in the platinum family, increasing the value of each movement too. So who did what? Well, Christopher Ward explains. Firstly, Armin Strom, the leading specialist in skeletonizing movements, manufactured the ski slope styled bridges that echo the Trident aesthetics. Secondly, Chronode, whose work has adorned watches from brands such as Czapek, Cyrus, MB&F, etc. They hand polished the chamfered edges of each movement for more than 6 hours under microscope, and they staked a dazzling effect. Finally, number 3, a third brand was involved, Xenoprint. They created the three-dimensional loom triangle at 12 o'clock using their unique Globalite XP process, which I didn't actually realise until I read through all the materials. So that's, again, another really interesting point about this watch. So when you consider that each movement has elements from multiple manufacturers, it's little wonder why the price is what it is. But to top it all off, it's also COSC certified, which alone costs approximately £100 just to get that certification. So let's talk specs. It has a whopping 120 hour or approximately 5-day power reserve thanks to the double barrels. As it's chronometer certified, the tolerance should be within -4 to +6 seconds per day. This one is coming in at a very impressive +1.8 seconds a day, so well within those restraints. The movement houses 31 jewels and has everything else you'd expect: a high beat rate of 28.8 thousand beats per hour, a hacking seconds hand, and automatic winding. There's still one thing left to mention though, and that's the loom. It is fantastic, which is a refreshing upgrade from the usual standard Christopher Ward level. The key design feature is the sandblasted, brushed and polished blue ring surrounding the outside of the movement with a superluminova filling and that previously mentioned orange Globalite triangle at 12. Now you don't see design like this too often, which is why it's rather welcome. Now, there is one thing that I'm surprised by though, and that is that they opted against hour markers. It would certainly increase legibility in the dark, but that huge thick arrow at 12 is a delight and fairly easy and quick to use as a focus point. And anyway, hour markers would just get in the way of that beautiful movement. White superluminova loom can also be found in the hands and in the bezel markings, plus that lovely little touch of being in the twin flags logo at 3. So, what are my final comments regarding the C60 concept? Well, who will it appeal to? Solely Christopher Ward fanboys, or maybe newbies to the brand as well? I mean, to be honest, Christopher Ward won't care. I don't particularly care either. Will it sell? Hell yes. Only 210 pieces will be produced, and enough people out there will look at it and realise the impressive nature of this watch. Now, Christopher Ward, they claim that the hand finishing is to standards found only in wristwatches above £10,000. Now, my experience in that price bracket is limited, so I can't really say for sure, but I feel it does have some weight to it rather than just being marketing. Yes, there are other watches for the same price, you know, funny that. But people should stop comparing this to watches that are not on a relative plane. I mean, the Oris Pro Pilot X, when you think about that price, it's only £500 less than the RRP of a Rolex Submariner. But you wouldn't compare those two watches, as that would be utterly pointless. So the fact is, Christopher Ward have created a watch with specs and that is finished to a standard never seen before at this price point, and that's a fact. You know, maybe Christopher Ward are starting to target the higher end market. Maybe they did all of this just because they could and they wanted to give it a go. Whatever the case, it's a tremendous watch that looks fantastic with impeccable craftsmanship. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, drop a comment below what you think about the Christopher Ward C60 concept, And please subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.